if you're thinking about getting pregnant or you are currently pregnant, you might be worried about your scoliosis getting worse. You may be even thinking about, is it safe being pregnant with scoliosis, or are you going to have a lot of back pain? In this video, I want to share with you my personal experience of pregnancy with scoliosis and the things that I did to stay pain-free and to make sure that my scoliosis wouldn't get worse. So my children are 10 and 12 years now, so it has been a while since I was pregnant, but I can very much remember how it did feel and how scared I was when I first became pregnant. So before I had my first child, I actually had a miscarriage, which was very painful emotionally and physically. And that probably also didn't put me in the best place to kind of be really positive about that next pregnancy then. When I was just really scared, I wasn't trusting my body, and scoliosis did play a huge factor in this as well. I wasn't quite sure, is my body actually able to make a baby, to create a baby, to grow a baby? So this is where I was. I was feeling scared. I was very scared of giving birth. So what I did during that time is I did reach out to a lot of people who had scoliosis themselves, and just kind of exploring or hearing some of these stories. Now, I think what is really important is that you stay away from these horror stories. So really surround yourself with good, positive birth stories, and it's all about mindset in pregnancy. One thing, when you are pregnant, it usually triggers a lot of women that have had children before to share their own experiences with birth, and sometimes or very often they will focus on something that went wrong and didn't go so well. So I want you to really say to these people, thank you so much for wanting to share, but I am surrounding myself with positive experiences. So if you've got something positive to share, please do. If you don't, please, I don't need to hear it right now. And this doesn't mean you need to stick your head in the sand, obviously. You want to make sure you are fully informed. So go and see your doctor, go and speak to them and speak about your fears and your options as well. With scoliosis in general, even if you've had a spinal fusion, there is no increased risk of being pregnant or giving birth even. The only thing it might affect is an epidural. If you're looking to have an epidural, that's where it might be slightly more difficult. In my case, it wasn't actually a problem at all. I've got a moderate lumbar curvature, so it is in this area obviously where the baby is growing, but it wasn't a problem at all. And then in the end, I didn't actually need to have an epidural. My birth experiences, the two of them, were absolutely fine, wonderful. I really made sure I focused on my breathing, and that positive mindset that I was talking about came in really handy. And just kind of thinking about this as being something really positive, and breathing through your contractions and just going with it, because it is a very natural process. Now let's talk about back pain a little bit, because that's another thing, and I always suffered from a lot of back pain in my late teens and early 20s. So I kind of expected there to be back pain in my pregnancy as well. And I have to say it was absolutely fine until I was about 15 weeks pregnant. And I don't know what it is about this time. It might be that the center of gravity changes. I started to become a little bit bigger, so things started to shift. And that's the time where I had a little bit more, some more niggles here and there. I went to see an osteopath during that time, and it was literally just one session of doing a little bit of release work, resetting basically, and then it was absolutely fine. So it is really all about surrounding yourself with a good team of people that can support you during this time as well. Making sure that you've got someone who can help you with back pain, who can help you with some of those questions that you might have, the worries that you might have, and that can be really supportive. I also made sure that I stayed active during both of my pregnancies. It was a little bit harder with the second one because I had a little toddler to look after as well, which keeps you active in general. But I made sure to keep up with my yoga. Now, especially if it's your first child, take advantage of this, that you've got the time to look after yourself, doing all your self-care, and go to some pregnancy specific yoga classes as well. Having said this, obviously with scoliosis, there are a few things that we want to kind of make sure that we pay attention to. And one of these things is our alignment, which is a little bit more tricky with your scoliosis. So it might be worth just kind of speaking to a scoliosis specialist and just kind of checking out some of the things maybe that you should be aware of, because pregnancy typically is a time where our hormone levels are different, and it's pregnancy and menopause where we are more flexible, so things can move a little bit more in a good way during pregnancy. We need this, but this also sometimes gives us a little bit less stability. So it is very important that you work on that as well. But it's not just about the movements that you make, but it's also about meeting other people there who are also pregnant, which can then come in very handy once the baby is there. And then once the baby is there, this is going to be your whole world. Everything is going to change, of course, but make sure you still take that time for yourself. And that is really something that I remember being very, very difficult, but it is so important. You can only kind of be there fully and nourish your child if you are in the best state as well. So recovery, it's not something that comes overnight, unfortunately. I wish someone had told me this, that it just takes time. And it will take a few months until you're kind of feeling like your former self again. Take that time to focus on your breathing practice, on relaxation, and then slowly starting to build up that core strength as well again. And I found this actually really beneficial, and I learned a lot during that time because I had to rebuild myself from scratch again. And I found it actually really enjoyable. So breastfeeding, carrying your baby, all of this obviously can contribute to some more imbalances in the body, which this is just life, and we keep going with life. But obviously there are things that you can do then to reset and to help yourself to make sure you don't get stuck in these imbalances. Having a good routine of stretches that you can do to release your aches and pains will be essential. So this video that is on your screen right now is safe for pregnancy, so make sure that you save it right now for later.